PGWP refusals can be devastating. However, there are certain steps you can take to make sure that you understand what the refusal reasons are and act accordingly to those reasons. When you receive your post-graduation work permit refusal, the first thing you need to do is take a look at the refusal letter and try to understand what's the exact reason why your application was refused. The officer is going to provide information about what is the requirement that was not met for your post-graduation work permit for them to decide in refusing your application. The second thing to do is to go back to your application package and take a look at the supporting documents and information that you've submitted to the officer to ensure that they didn't make a mistake in assessing your application. Now, what's very important that you should have done beforehand is to screenshot everything before you apply for your post-graduation work permit. You should have saved all the supporting documents, the entire application package, so it's easy for you to go back to what you've applied for, all the application forms, all the supporting documents. And if the officer made a reason, then you can come back to them with an argument to say, this is what we've submitted, these are the requirements, this is what you refused my application for. But as you can see, based on the application forms, based on all of the letters of explanation and supporting documents, I indeed met this requirement. If it is due to officer error or some sort of an error in the system, you can go back to IRCC and request a reconsideration. And if they take a look at the application and indeed it was due to error, the chances are quite high that the officer will reopen the case and provide a new decision. Just keep in mind that reconsideration requests are not really a formal process that's documented on the IRCC website. At the end of the day, the officer can decide to, take your request into consideration, or they can choose not to. But in almost all cases, they will reply back to you saying whether or not they're accepting this new evidence or this reconsideration request. If let's say you're taking a look at the refusal reasons and you're not 100% sure if, what the officer said is correct or if you provided all that evidence, what you can do is make an access to information and privacy request. What this is also commonly known as requesting your GCMS notes. GCMS is basically the global case management system that IRCC uses to manage all of their immigration application. So it, has all the information about your application plus all of the notes that the officer is making about your application. So when you request your GCMS notes, you'll actually see on the end of the GCMS notes all of the notes that the officer has made. And normally speaking, it's going to contain more information that they provide in the refusal letter. So now taking all of that information into context, you can create a new application or a reconsideration request with more details, with more understanding, which increases the chances that the next decision will come back positive. The next thing that you could do is, let's say that the officer did indeed make a mistake. In addition to your reconsideration request, you can work with an immigration lawyer to seek judicial review. Judicial review is a process, it's a federal court procedure really, where you go in front of a judge with all your supporting evidence and say that the officer made an error in their judgment, and your immigration lawyer's likely going to take a look at previous case law, the reasons why they believe the officer made an error, and the reason why they believe the decision should go back and be assessed by another officer. In these cases, it can go in front of the judge. IRCC may actually reach out to try and settle the case beforehand, but this is another measure that you can take. Obviously, working with an immigration lawyer can be expensive, and so sometimes when the application is simple enough and you're still eligible to apply for another post-graduation work permit, what can be recommended is instead of doing judicial review, is to submit a completely new post-graduation work permit application, because it may come back faster and cheaper. So we covered 4 different things that you should do if you received a refusal. First being, you need to apply for your GCMS notes to understand what happened. If you don't have your application files, you can request application files along with your GCMS with an ATIP request, so you can do that. This usually takes about 2 to 3 months in our experience. Secondly, you can request reconsideration if you believe the officer made a mistake. If the officer made no mistake or you missed a document or something like that, there's no reason for them to reconsider it. So you don't need to try this option if you know that you're the one who made the mistake. Third thing you can do is reapply for the post-graduation work permit. And the fourth thing you can do is work with an immigration lawyer to seek judicial review. Whatever the process is, it's really important to understand, your application, what you submitted, and have a full picture of what's going on. And so whenever you receive a refusal, our recommendation is to seek professional help. Come reach out to us. It's a very nominal fee to, protect your future in Canada, really. So book a short, 1 hour consultation to discuss your application. We'll be able to take a look at the full picture and provide you with options of what you can do. You can reach out to us directly at pgwpcanada.com, and we'll be able to set up a call and get you on the process of getting your PGWP approved.